Today, we're going to be exploring a spectacular super yacht. This is the Oceanic 143. This yacht was first delivered in 2023, and fun fact, I actually toured this yacht in France right around 2 years ago when this yacht was first delivered, and it was literally right after the sea trial, so there were a couple little tidbits here and there that weren't necessarily finished yet, so I thought it made a lot of sense to hop back on board and give it a revisit. This yacht can sleep 10 guests in 5 different cabins. We have a sauna on board and a lot of other fantastic features that I think you're going to really like. And this yacht is presented by Worth Avenue Yachts. And now that it's listed for sale with Worth, we actually can have a public price for this yacht. Normally, when a yacht is brand new from the shipyard, they don't like to necessarily publicly disclose how much they're asking. So now, of course, in the title, you can see how much this yacht is asking. The length, as the name would imply, is 143 feet, or 43.5 meters in length. You have a beam of 27 feet, or 8.23 meters, and a draft of 6 feet and 11 inches, or 2.11 meters. And that is a very shallow draft, sub 7 feet, for a super yacht of this size. This yacht has a very efficient semi-displacement hull design, and with that special design, you're able to get the sub 7 foot draft while still combining Explorer yacht features to where you're able to travel extreme distances as well. So I think that's enough talking for the intro. Let's make our way on board this vessel. We'll access it via the passerelle, but you'll also get a glimpse down into the beach club. And you'll see we have a massive hydraulic swim platform, so you could store some toys right here. And also you'll see in the beach club, we'll go down there in a minute, they have this set up as either a lounging or a gym space, but you also could use this as a mini garage to store a small tender or additional toys. Although we have a much larger garage underneath the aft deck, and I'll show that to you later on as well. So we get a lot of great flexibility with the different spaces. And of course, the beach club is finished to a very high degree, so if you are going to use this space as a beach club or gym, you still have the lovely finishes. But either way, it's nice to have that flexibility. And you probably couldn't see from where we were standing in the intro, but this yacht, here's where you get that Explorer yacht feature, and that is that this space is absolutely massive. Starting with the jacuzzi back here, with sun pads on either side. And this aft deck space is 1,400 square feet. You can see we even have the fire pit. There's a TV that rises up from this section, and there's also a TV on either side. We also have massive storage chests on either side of the aft deck. And before we explore the rest of it, let's head down to that beach club so you can take a closer look, both at the swim platform, and you can see this rectangle, that is the hydraulic part, but then also down into the beach club. And then we'll see this large door open right here. This will grant us access down to the engine room and also the garage. So we'll go here later on in the tour. There are side boarding gates on each side. And we also have a massive alfresco dining space. So you and your entire party can dine right here. And here you can see the TV facing the opposite direction. So it's a nice touch having the TV facing either side. And also there is a bar area back on this aft deck, just in front of the door to the engine room. You can see that right back here, where we have additional refrigeration, a sink, a small cooktop. It is extremely impressive to have a fire pit on your yacht. And all right, let's head inside the main salon. These doors will open up automatically, and it will grant us access to this beautiful main entrance. We have the 2 sofas facing each other. We also have floor-to-ceiling windows up the entire stretch of this yacht. Of course, right now, the curtains are down to block out some of that natural light, but still, you have a ton of light in here. And also continuing forward, you will see the formal dining room. And then this yacht has a very unusual layout with the guest cabins. So you're gonna have to let me know what you think after you see it. But we're going to continue forward, and instead of the normal section where you would expect a hallway to the owner suite, we just have a mirror because this area is actually blocked. So I think before we go down to the guest cabins, let's figure out what's going on. Let's come back around here and we'll go check out the galley. This is such a beautiful main salon. I can't get enough. I love these vertical elements of accent lighting that goes all the way up into the ceiling. Here you can see a wine fridge as well as a prep space. You'll find the day head right here. And then around the corner, this is where we find the galley. There's a side access door as well, but you'll find your Miele induction cooktop and oven, as well as the sink, your integrated dishwasher, and then we have the stainless steel counters and backsplash. And just behind our back, that's where you have the entire wall of cold storage. So you can see multiple refrigerators and freezers. And then also, one of the first very unusual things, beyond the owner suite not being on the main deck, we actually have the bridge located on this level and all the way forward. So this is where you would normally expect to see an owner suite. And of course, this was delivered 2 years ago, so it has a very modern bridge. 2 stylish captain's chairs, and then the captain has an office space back here. There's also a settee on this side. And you can see how far forward we are on this yacht. And also, as any proper super yacht has, the captain's cabin is located just aft of the bridge. So you can find that right here. And it's finished very nicely in here. Lovely woodwork all throughout. And even the rainfall shower. And then heading back down this hallway, down this staircase, this is where we find the crew mess. So we can see they have a large table and a large L-shaped seating section. This is a very spacious crew mess. It's also finished just like the captain's cabin. It's finished very nicely down here. They have an additional freezer and refrigerator and an integrated dishwasher, as well as a sink. They have their TV on the wall, and then maybe you can hear it behind me. There is a double set of washer and dryers just behind these sliding doors. So we have it set up so you can see both. And then we have 3 additional crew cabins down here, all with their own en-suites. So we will take a look at this one. As you can see, this is very spacious. I'm pretty impressed. And you have the bunks, some shoe storage over here, a closet, and then their ensuite is right back here. Or rather, just forward. And then this will lead us back out to the main salon. So a big thank you to the crew. They're working extremely hard at this show, and the chief stew was very nice about getting that set up and looking good for you. And now we're gonna head down to all the guest cabins now that we've seen everything else on the main level. And there are 4 cabins down here. And also take a look at how wide this hallway and staircase are. It's very impressive. We'll start right over here. We have the 2 single beds, and these are full-size mattresses. I like the large windows along the wall. Here we can see their closet. It lights up automatically. And then, of course, their ensuite. And also, you may have noticed throughout the yacht, you have a beautiful contrast between the high gloss woods and also the floors, which are much lighter. And even though this is the smallest cabin, we still have a large rainfall shower. And I'm sure we'll find the same thing across the hall. And you can see the beautiful stone design for the drain on the floor. They really elevated the spaces in every single area. Now, let's go check out the mirrored VIP cabins. You can see they have a dressing table or a desk, and then the TV is built right into it. This room also features a settee, and actually the other one does as well. So these VIPs are truly mirrored to each other. And then through this door is their ensuite. And these are a little bit bigger than the last rooms. We have the toilet and bidet. And then we also have, once again, a large shower. And I like how they match the veins from the floor drain to the stone on the wall. And then last but not least, we have cabin number 2, or 3, depending on what you're calling this one. Here's what it looks like with the TV down. And they have 3 closets. And of course, their beautiful ensuite. So you may be thinking to yourself, well, wait a minute, Tony. We've seen the entirety of the main deck, and we've also seen all of the guest cabins downstairs, and none of them were the owner suite. So where is it located? Well, don't you worry, all of my curious audience members. We're gonna go see the owner suite in a moment. You actually have a private owner's apartment upstairs on the bridge deck, which is pretty incredible. Of course, you are giving up some space. You're not gonna have a sky lounge because the whole thing is built out as the owner suite, but it's a give and take. Obviously, it comes down to personal preference. So you're gonna have to let me know what you think about that in just a moment when you see it. All right, let's head up these beautiful floating stairs. And also, if you're enjoying the tour thus far, please leave a like on the video. And also, if you're new, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. All right, we made it upstairs. The bridge is downstairs, so this entire area is dedicated to the owner. You can see we have a desk space over here. There is a door that leads out front, but we're not gonna go there yet. First, we're gonna turn back facing aft. And we do have tons of storage in this area. And then here is the private owner suite. We have a huge glass door which slides across, a sofa on the far side, and of course your massive bed in the middle of the room. And naturally, we have the full beam of the yacht to play with. There's even more seating over in this corner. And then up through this section, this is your walk-in closet. So you have all of this storage space. Same thing on the opposite side. And walking through here, this is what brings us to the ensuite, where we have a very large shower. And also, a lot of people really love this. We have the tub. And then, of course, a double vanity. And your toilet is tucked away behind this door. And there's also a bidet just on the other side. And also, now that we've seen this side, let's head out because there's a door where we first came up, and also on this side. This brings us out to the owner's private deck. And as you can see, we have L-shaped seating on this side, your private sun pad space. So you and your significant other, or others, you know, whatever it is, you all can lay out here and enjoy these beautiful views. The sun is just about to set, so I can't think of a much better example than this. Maybe if there was a different backdrop besides just all these mansions across the water. And you have the same seating over on this side. So I love how even though the bridge deck aft is still accessible from downstairs, you still have a private deck right out here, which I think makes a lot of sense because I wouldn't necessarily want to privatize the entirety of the bridge deck aft, because that is a really large space. And now that we have that closed behind us, we can continue back. And then this is an extremely heavy duty door, but still extremely smooth to open. And you can see, although it's not completely private because there's a staircase over here, it is a much smaller table, so not necessarily designed for your entire party to dine. So maybe you and those closest to you can have your breakfast out here. We have additional storage, and then some freestanding furniture set up. And also some of this is fixed with the cushions just back here. So plenty of places to lounge out. And also, this will overlook this massive aft deck area, trying to keep some of the guests off camera. You can see how this overlooks the entire space. And once again, I wanted to highlight 1,400 square feet for this aft deck. And also, under the table, it is protected by the hardtop with the teak accents in the ceiling. And then I think I mentioned it in the intro, we have a sauna on board. So you might be asking yourself, well, Tony, where is that located? Because we didn't see it back in the beach club. But don't you worry, once again, my curious viewer, we will find the sauna up here on the sun deck. And I won't even hold you in suspense. Let's just walk around to it. First, we have to walk past another beautiful sun pad. And once again, take a look at the view from the top of this yacht. This is absolutely incredible. We have some more fixed sun pads in different locations, as well as wing stations on either side for the crew. And then in the structure in the middle, this is where we find the sauna. You have the mosaic tile lining the walls with some large windows. You also have some skylights above. And then if we step in here, I know it's going to get a bit echoey, but you can see how massive of a space this is. And also, you do have the built-in rainfall shower. So I'm sure you could also steam it up in here if you wanted to. It's definitely a fantastic feature to have on board a yacht. And also continuing back on this area, you can see the 3 loungers minus the cushions. And we also have the built-in bar. So you can see the crew can come around here. There's a sink and some more refrigeration. And then overhead, of course, is the mast. Let's head back across. I'm sure you saw it before, but here's the other wing station. And now let's head up all the way to the foredeck, because I don't think we saw that earlier. And from the side deck on the main level, because the bridge is located down here, we have easy access all the way to the front. There is a side door into the bridge. And then I see these hinges here, and I can't remember for the life of me if there's seating under here or if this is a massive storage chest. I'm leaning storage chest. But you can see those vertical windows from the bridge, as well as the bell, and you have another small sun pad area all the way in the front. And of course, we have the large winches. You can see the anchor chain. And I'm trying to remember, I think in the beginning of the video, there were several crew members on board on the aft deck, and also there were a few things going on. So I may have had to cut that into different pieces. So if you stuck around this long, first of all, I appreciate it. But second of all, we're about to go see the engine room, but also let me give you another long shot of this aft deck area. So like we saw before, we have the bar, as well as the dining area. The TV that comes up on either side. And then this is just so awesome. We have the fire pit. You can also see the speakers that are built in. extremely large storage chests on either side. And because we have the tender garage below, and it's a very large garage, we actually don't need to store anything up here. So you have all of this real estate for hanging out. I can imagine if you were throwing a party, you could fit so many people on board this space. Maybe you could put a DJ setup up here on the upper level overlooking everything. I don't know, the ideas, they're starting to swirl in my head. But if you were gonna throw a party, let me know how you'd set it up down here. Either way. And also, before I forget, we also have the jacuzzi with the sun pads on either side. And I know for a fact we adequately saw the beach club, so I'm not gonna go back down there again. But I just wanted to make sure we were able to take in this aft deck, all 1,400 square feet of it, in one continuous shot. All right, now we're gonna head down to this garage I've been hyping up, as well as the engine room. So you'll see the staircase. And right away, we will enter this garage. And you can see the crane setup. And you can also see the windows on either side. So this is the massive door that will open up. So you can swing your tender and your additional jet skis out of this door. And also, as mentioned, you can fit a jet ski back in that beach club. The capabilities are already built in that area. And you'll also see this is a fantastic place for storage. And you can see, of course, how they're utilizing that. And hopefully it's starting to make sense when I talk about we have Explorer Yacht features as well as Explorer Yacht range combined with the semi-displacement hull that's very efficient with the shallow draft. And also the top speed is pretty impressive on this yacht. It's not blazing fast by any means, but it's still decent performance, which I will talk about in just a moment. First, we're gonna head into the engine room. This is the chief engineer's office. And of course, we have water makers on board. How are you supposed to cruise long range if you don't have that? You can see all the different tanks and their levels. And then through this door, this is where we find the engines. And it's only 2 years old, so it's extremely clean and bright in here. And you're greeted by the massive generators. And you probably weren't expecting this. Instead of the traditional 2 engines, we actually have 3 engines on board. 1, 2 in the middle, and number 3. More specifically, these are Cat C32B engines rated at 2,400 horsepower, which gives you an impressive top speed of 26 knots. We can cruise at 19 knots, and if you drop it down to 8 knots, you'll get 4,400 nautical miles of range. So like I said, very impressive from a range perspective. And I'm curious if this yacht crossed the Atlantic. Like I said, 2 years ago, we did our initial preview while we were in Cannes, France. But now, we're in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, in the United States. So I'm curious if it made the crossing itself, but sometimes just to reduce the wear and tear, these yachts will go on a much larger ship, like a yacht transport ship, and get shipped across the ocean. Maybe I'll ask a crew member in just a moment, we'll see. Either way, that's the engine room. And once again, here is the garage. And I love how easily accessible this area is. There, of course, are backup ways to get down here, but this one is, of course, the easiest. All right, and we're gonna give you one more look in the main salon. And if I didn't point it out earlier, the ceiling in this area is also teak-lined. Thank you, of course, to Worth Avenue Yachts for granting me access on board. They are an incredible partner, and I love filming their listings. Let me know what you think of this one in the comment section down below, and we will catch you next time.